eliminate prayer or any phase of religious expression in the schools on the grounds that it violates the principle of separation of church and state. Once again, they absolutely eliminated prayer. Madeline Murray O'Hare, look that bitch up. She basically was able to get, she was the start of it, be able to get prayer out of schools. And I believe with all my heart that prayer in schools, I believe that really ended up hurting our country in the long run. Getting rid of prayer, getting rid of the pledge. Look at all this stuff. I remember when I was a kid. I can't remember what grade. I remember we stopped doing the pledge, but I remember doing the pledge. Now, I never prayed in school because I think it was already by then they made it unconstitutional. The separation of church and state, that's a whole other matter, because that's not what the left's saying it is. They're lying bastards when they tell you it is not what they're trying to say it is. Number 29, discredit the American Constitution by calling it inadequate, old-fashioned, out of step with modern needs, a hindrance to cooperation between nations on a worldwide basis. We've seen the Constitution attacked constantly, especially during the Obama years, and by people like that. Number 30, discredit the American Founding Fathers, present them as selfish aristocrats who had no concern for the common man. I've heard that before. Maybe not as much as the other things I've discussed here or I've talked about in this list, but I've heard the Founding Fathers referred to as a bunch of old white racists and what have you. Number 31, belittle all forms of American culture and discourage the teaching of American history on the grounds that it was only a minor part of the big picture. Give more emphasis to Russian history since the communists took over. I'm not going to comment on that, but I do believe that they have absolutely subverted our culture and marginalized American history and American exceptionalism. I do believe they've done that. 32, support any socialist movement to give centralized control over any part of the culture, education, social agencies, welfare programs, mental health clinics. This is all part of the communist thing. That's one of the hallmark tenets. Whenever they try and say, oh, Barack Obama was a socialist, I believe he was. That's one of the hallmark tenets. All the things of communism and socialism, that's one of the first ways they always begin. Healthcare. Control the healthcare. 33, eliminate all laws or procedures which interfere with the operation of the communist apparatus. 34, eliminate the House Committee on Un-American Activities. That's the thing we're talking about, HUAC, Joe McCarthy. 35, discredit and eventually dismantle the FBI. Boy, talk about something that's we're talking about right now. The FBI has basically been subverted. They're basically an arm, becoming an arm of the Democrat Party. I believe the FBI is not the FBI they were under J. Edgar Hoover. 36, infiltrate and gain control of more unions. I believe they've done that. 37, infiltrate and gain control of big business. I believe that's another one you could mark off their list. 38, transfer some of the powers of arrest from the political to social agencies. Treat all behavioral problems as psychiatric disorders, which no one but psychiatrists can understand or treat. We have basically started, our whole country is over-medicated. Treat all behaviors problems as psychiatric disorders. How many times have you heard of ADHD and kids being prescribed Ritalin? Some of this stuff is just staggering. It does blow your mind that they've been able to achieve a lot of this stuff. 39, dominate the psychiatric profession and use mental health laws as a means of gaining coercive control over those who oppose communist goals. 40, discredit the family as an institution. Encourage promiscuity and easy divorce. The no-fault divorce laws. How many times have we heard, especially through the media and TV, especially sitcoms and marriage, or sitcoms and movies, how often they deride the whole idea of marriage. They make these hip, young, single people, these bachelors, these single mothers with kids. How many movies, I can't count how many movies I've seen where we've seen a unwed mother, a father who's left with his kids because the mother left or whatever. Now, it's one thing if a kid dies, all right, excuse me, not a kid. If one thing if one of the parents dies, that's one thing altogether different. But I absolutely have seen a total vilification and a marginalization of marriage, like it's no good. That's basically a country's only as good as a strong family unit. If you have a bunch of broken family homes, a country's not going to be any good. 41, emphasize the need to raise children away from the negative influence of parents, attribute prejudices, mental blocks, and retarding of children to suppressive influence of parents. How many times have we heard people say, well, you should stand up to your parents, tell them when they're wrong. It's just unbelievable. 42, create the impression that violence and insurrection are legitimate aspects of the American tradition, that students and special interest groups should rise up and use united force to solve economic, political, or social problems. The riots. Berkeley, we even have them today. Riots. I mean, we've had a lot of them, not just at Berkeley, but other places in these college campuses. Kids. 43, overthrow all colonial governments before native populations are ready for self-government. 44, internationalize the Panama Canal. Done. We got rid of that back, I believe, during, I think it was 1999, I believe, when we got rid of it, the Panama Canal, even though we built it. 45, repeal the Connolly Reservation so the United States cannot prevent the World Court. That's something I'd have to look on. Some of these things, as I said, I didn't go over all of them. That was 45. Now, how many of you out there can actually say that they haven't achieved probably literally 85% of this stuff? 85 to 90%. And just because they haven't achieved it all doesn't mean they're not trying. That's another thing about, talk about Barack Obama. Oh, he wasn't a socialist communist. He didn't do this. He didn't do that. It's only because the Constitution was preventing him. And some of the Constitution he was disobeying. The Fifth Amendment, for example. But if you look around us today, our culture is totally just, it's like a cesspool. We look at everything as moral equivalency. This ain't bad. This ain't bad. This ain't bad. Oh, praying to God, bowing your head to God, saying America was a great country, is a great country, all that, I mean, some of this stuff, people you'd never think that we would ever fall to such a depth as to buy into some of this crap, but we have, a lot of us have. Once again, when you're a kid, even 18, you go to college, you have a very impressionable mind. And you can be absolutely indoctrinated and proselytized into thinking like a subversive, like a communist. Like a lot of these kids think, oh, this is just me. No, it's not just you. Our country was founded on Judeo-Christian beliefs, on that system. And communism, when you look at communism and socialism, and once again, for you out there that say, well, socialism ain't the same as communism, I got news for you. Vladimir Lenin said it best. Communism is always the goal of socialism. Here, listen again. Communism is always the goal of socialism. In other words, socialism almost always leads to communism. It may not happen overnight, but it happens. But, I listen to people like that, Lenin, Khrushchev, over people that say, oh, this ain't socialist, this ain't communist, because they ain't going to come out and tell you this. You think they're going to admit it? You got some people that know what's going on. You got other idiots, what communists will call the useful idiots, as in those that go to college. Not all of them, but a lot of them. These people, they're useful idiots. They've absolutely been basically, as I said in the last video, basically proverbially speaking, bent over the table and mentally raped. They don't realize that their mind has been turned. I guess I can't really get into a whole lot else right now. I got other videos I'm going to be working on. I'm going to try and some of these things I'm going to tackle individual issue, one at a time. As far as abortion, the pro-life movement, as far as the gay agenda, The LGBT, as they call it now, agenda, the gun rights, the America as the best country on earth, Christianity as far as it's being attacked consistently. I'm going to attack some of these things in a single issue. But right now, I want to stop here. Please subscribe to my videos. Tell everyone about them. I'd really appreciate it. It's not so much about me. It's about America. It's about what we're facing in this country. And the more this stuff gets around, because there's a lot of people out there that are ignorant. There's ignorant and or stupid, or I should say ignorant or stupid. You can't be both. But we have to get the word out more. And so I ask you to subscribe to the video, to my page, and like it, give me comments, and tell other people about me. Spread the word, repost, share. I'm trying to get up a page on Facebook, but I'm having problems. So, but with that all being said, God bless you, and I will see you the next time out to the Gauntlet.